Red Bull's Max Verstappen is seen as the clear runaway winner for this year's title as of late, but Max himself still feels like he and Red Bull are still in a perilous situation with the reliability issues that have plagued him and his teammate Sergio Perez. So what are the boys in blue planning to do to keep Max the favourite to win this year's title? And how will the new FIA technical directives really affect the team? And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today, so stick around to hear what the drivers and team figures have to say. But before we get to it, consider subscribing to the channel. We post 4 times a week to keep you guys up to date with latest and hottest news in the F1 space. Now that's out of the way, let's get to it. Red Bull's golden boy Max Verstappen scored his 6th win of the 2022 season last Sunday in Canada, widening the gap between him and his teammate Sergio Perez in the drivers' standings to 46 points. If you never knew of the first few races of the season, you'd think that Verstappen and the team have a world beater of a car and set up to have both of their drivers at 1 and 2 in the drivers' standings. But that isn't the case, as everybody knows, as both drivers have now combined for 4 DNFs this season, with each having 2 under their belt. This is why, even though they have a comfortable lead in both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship, team leader of driver development Red Bull, Helmut Marko, believes that the team and both the drivers should not rest on their laurels, as they are still vulnerable to a comeback from Ferrari, or worse, Mercedes. In Helmut's words, "The main thing is, you have to finish and avoid those reliability things. We also had a sprint race, which helped us a lot to get more points. We have an unbelievable run now. Normally in the first half of the season, we were always catching up and now are dominating." You have to say that if you win 7 races out of the first 9, that is domination. Reliability is always a concern if you have a car that is so much on the limit. You see that at Ferrari. The only ones who don't have a technical DNF yet is Mercedes, but they had to lift during some races because of overheating problems. You must, of course, not forget that these are completely new and heavier cars. You have almost no test time and immediately go to the limit. That's where the outages come in. We're relatively okay. Well, on second thought, we're not okay at all. 4 outages so far is just too much, but we're working on it. The team's latest DNF was from Sergio Perez this past Sunday after the Mexican driver could be heard on the team radio, saying that he couldn't change gears and was forced to roll to the runoff area where he would have to retire his car. After the race, Sergio would speak to the media, where he would say, "We need to keep on top of the reliability because a 0, when you are fighting for the championship, is very painful and costly. You go into new regulations and there is always going to be new problems to face. Today hurts a lot. It has been a weekend to forget for me, so I want to forget about today and move on to Silverstone." Before we continue on, consider subscribing to the channel if you've been enjoying the videos so far. Now back to the news. Team principal Christian Horner would address the media afterward, as well as shed some light about what could possibly be the reason for Perez's retirement. He would say to the media, "It was a frustrating weekend for Checo, and we think he had a suspected gearbox issue, so we'll need to get the car back and have a look at what happened. He's now had the same amount of mechanical failures as Max has had, and we need to understand that and address that." Max, on the other hand, would urge the team to also improve the RB18's pace, as he believes that the Ferrari's getting too close for comfort. Max would also say that if the team doesn't keep up with the updates, that he believes their position in the standings are vulnerable. In his words, "It was a tough race. I expected to have a little bit more pace, but we seemed to lack a little bit compared to Carlos. It's still a very long way, and I know the gap of course is quite big, but I also know that it can switch around very quickly," he said. "I mean, at race 3, I was 46 behind, so we just need to stay calm, we need to focus, we need to improve, because today we were not the quickest. It swings a bit, like last weekend it looked good in the race, but now it didn't look as good, but we still managed to win. And that, I think, is also a quality. We just have to work together with the whole team to try and just find little improvements in the car." While pace is something that is well within their control, especially with the plethora of talented engineers that they have working for them, they have all the means to eventually crack the code and improve the RB18's pace. But reliability is a different thing, and F1 legend Mika Hakkinen believes that this is where Mercedes may come to surprise both Red Bull and Ferrari if the two don't get things sorted out before Mercedes unlocks the W13's potential. In his words, Mercedes has the one thing both Red Bull and Ferrari lack: reliability. They are also quick enough to be consistently the third fastest car on the track and able to pick up good points whenever Red Bull or Ferrari have any issues. This looked like a step forward in terms of race setup. The team has been trying new things on the car, sometimes making it very difficult for both drivers, but Sunday looked positive. And it seems as though Ferrari too still have high spirits, as senior performance engineer Jock Clear and their driver Charles Leclerc would give insight on their chances of making a comeback, with Clear saying, "We've seen not wishing bad luck on Max or not wishing to sort of win it by virtue of DNFs and that sort of thing, but reliability will play a part in this championship later on in the year as well, for everyone. So there's more dice to roll." While Charles would say, "Reliability is a concern for everyone this season, but if we can fix that, we have the performance to come back, and so from Silverstone, we will be trying to gain points back. 49 points, 2 victories and it's done." Going back to Hakkinen would also shock the media and fans when he would reveal that he is on Mercedes' side when it comes to the ongoing debate about the new technical directives the FIA has imposed to combat porpoising. In his words, "It is good to see the FIA listening to concerns about driver safety. As usual, the best way to get it sorted out is to measure what's happening and then make some decisions based on what the data shows. Of course, some teams want to see changes, especially if the porpoising is making their cars uncompetitive. But once the FIA, teams and drivers can get an accurate picture of what's really happening, the right steps can be taken." Only time will tell if whether or not the further directives from the FIA will disintegrate Red Bull's dominating lead over the competition, but what both Christian Horner and Sergio Perez know is that Max is the driver of the future, with Christian believing that Max is at the apex of his career, and Sergio calling Max the greatest of all time. In Sergio's words, "Max is very good and he is a very complete driver. He is without a doubt one of the best in the history of Formula One, if not the best, for everything, for his education, and because he has things that other Formula One drivers do not have. The special thing about Max is the ease of going to the limit. Max goes to the limit from the first lap. Every change he makes to the car is important, and it's not that he changes his conditioning style, he always goes to the limit. The difference is always a corner. It is a level that demands a lot as a driver. We are still in the early parts of the season, so a lot can still happen. But what do you think? Are Max and Sergio's concerns valid? Will Ferrari or even Mercedes shock everyone this season? Let us know in the comment section below, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.